Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here, D3 Topics Gamer, here to share with you with my top 5 list videos to share with you guys today. Now, since the Video Game Awards were last week, we got a bunch of announcements. And so I thought, since we're, getting close to the end of the year, I thought it would be a great idea for me to actually go over what I believe are the top 5, or I should say are, my top 5 most anticipated games that I want to play in 2022. Now, I've already done a video going over the top 5 best games that I played this year, and I'll be sure to leave a little clip above me, and I'll be sure to leave a link in the description down below if you do happen to want to see that video after you're done with this video. But if you do happen to enjoy this video by the end, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep track of me and all my future videos that I have planned for the rest of the year, going into next year. So I'm going to say these 5 games, I'm sure a number of these would be on anyone's list. However, there might be a few that might surprise you. So starting off with number 5 on my list, my number 5th spot, most anticipated game of 2022, is going to have to go to Hogwarts Legacy. It has been a very long time since I've actually played a good Harry Potter style game, and with it, the release of the newest trailer for the upcoming Secret of Dumbledore film that's set to come out early next year. I believe around April. I just think that having a chance to go back to Hogwarts would be a great experience. It looks like it's going to have a lot of RPG elements, which, heck, RPGs are my favorite genre, so I can actually build up my character however I want with all kinds of spells, go on all kinds of crazy adventure, and perhaps choose my own path. I think just any experience that allows us to go back to the wizarding world, especially Hogwarts, is just going to be a fun joy to experience, which is why it's number 5 on my list. Going into number 4 is going to have to go to Gotham Knights. Now, this is its own separate thing apart from the Batman Arkham series, and I think that's a good thing. So, playing a game where apparently Batman has supposedly died, which I'll say I don't think he's actually dead. I think he'll show up eventually. But you get to play as the other members of the Bat family as they take on the Court of Owls. Just sounds like it's going to be one heck of a game. I mean, the Court of Owls is no joke of a threat. So if Batman gone, I'm really curious to see how these younger members are going to be able to handle themselves, because they have one heck of a chance. It looks like the gameplay is going to be somewhat similar to Batman Arkham. I'm hoping they had some changes. I'm sure the story is going to be just fine. Visually, the game looks great. Hopefully, it'll perform well. And the biggest thing that I hope this thing has is a sense of co-op. I'm sure there is some sort of co-op. So having the opportunity to play as a member of the Bat family, hopefully playing with some of you out there while we take on the Court of Owls and who knows what other threats, just sounds like it's going to be probably one of the best comic book experience games that I've played probably since, I should say, maybe even the last Spider-Man game. Since, yeah, I do think the Spider-Man from who's on PlayStation is definitely better than most of the Arkham games, but heck, that's just my opinion. But I have trust in the studio. I think it's going to be a great game, and heck, I can't wait to get my hands on it when it comes out sometime next year. So, on to number 3. Now, number 3 on my list is definitely going to surprise a lot of you for it actually being, some would say, middle of the road, but it has to go to God of War Ragnarok. Now, the top spot for a while was actually between 2 different games, between this game and what takes the number 2 spot. And there was actually another game that I had forgotten about that I thought was even better. But the reason why I put God of War Ragnarok at number 3 is because there's no question it's going to be a great game. There's absolutely no question. Just from what we've seen in terms of the story, it's going to sound like it's going to take place not too long after the events of God of War 4. And just what little improvement I've actually seen. I mean, visually, they both look great games. I don't see a major visual improvement over the last game. And combat-wise, it looks like it's going to be very, very similar to the last game, with just maybe a few new additions, maybe a couple new attacks. I really hope they keep a lot of the RPG elements that they established in God of War 4, because I thought that actually worked a lot better than I expected. I'm just seeing that this is just going to be a solid follow-up. I don't expect it to be overwhelmingly better than the original game. That's not what I'm seeing. But I think that if it just continues the line of great God of War games, I think that's good enough to give it the number 3 spot. Trust me, there's no question this is going to be great. Santa Monica Studios is definitely probably the best studio in the entire PlayStation exclusive family lineup of developers and creators, in my opinion. I think they're absolutely the top tier, in my opinion. But I just think that because I'm not seeing a massive amount of improvement, that's the only thing that just sort of slows it down a little bit on my list. But no question, when the collector's edition gets announced, I'm definitely going to pick it up immediately. There's a day one buy. I'm pretty sure it's going to end up being like a 9, 9.5, possibly being a 10 out of 10 game. But heck, I got to give it the number 3 spot on my list. Going on to number 2 is the game that slightly beat God of War Ragnarok, and that has to go to Horizon Forbidden West. This was tough to pick between Ragnarok and Forbidden West, but I think Forbidden West definitely got the edge simply because I'm seeing far more improvement graphically, combatively, and story-wise than God of War Ragnarok. And the fact that I really think that over time, Horizon definitely could elevate itself to being one of the all-time greatest PlayStation exclusive franchise that PlayStation never seen. I really do believe it can get to that point, as for God of War has already done that. I think that Aloy's journey is going to go through so many great changes. I cannot wait to see what new machines we're going to be able to encounter, battle, maybe even mount, and I just cannot wait to see what this story in this dystopian world is going to evolve into now that we are entering a completely new side of the country with all new threats, with all new explorations, with all new weapons. There's just so much about that game that is going to feel absolutely new and enhanced that I just don't think I'm going to get that much difference when compared to God of War Ragnarok. That's not, again, not to push God of War Ragnarok down. That's going to be an awesome game, but I just think that I'm definitely going to get a little bit more enjoyment out of Forbidden West and probably even spend more time playing it than God of War, which is why Horizon Forbidden West takes the number 2 spot on my list. Number 1 game, the most anticipated game that I want to play in 2022 is the Dead Space remake. Now don't get me wrong, Horizon and God of War, those are going to be great PlayStation exclusive experiences, and that usually allows us to get a little bit more edge on other games. But Dead Space is without question my favorite survival horror game series of all time. It makes Resident Evil look like child's play, without question, in my opinion, even though Resident Evil is an awesome franchise. But I'm really pumped up for this game because the franchise has really died years ago during the PlayStation 3 era. And to see it get revitalized and be upgraded and updated to the point we're using modern graphics, and it's going to have the advantage of all these years of technological improvement. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dead Space 1 is still an impressive looking game to play even now. So I can only imagine how much better it's going to be in the current gen era. It's going to be something spectacular. I mean, I'm just getting all giddy just thinking about it. And heck, this could lead into a possible remake of a Dead Space 2 maybe, which is my favorite survival horror game of all time. And unlike other remakes, this is something where I don't really like. I know a lot of it is going to be taken directly from the first game, but I'm really more excited to see what new things they add and how they make it different from the original. I think that's the kind of thing, at least for this particular game, that I look forward to the most. Now, when they do it in other games, I usually don't like it, but this is like the one time where I'm really curious to see an experience that is somewhat different yet familiar at the same time. And I think I can only get that from the Dead Space remake, because just from what little we've seen of it, and we haven't seen much in terms of gameplay and story. I'm sure the story's going to be the same, but just gameplay wise, it looks like they are really going all out to make this game a massive improvement and upgrade over the original game that came out in 2008, which is why, without question, the Dead Space remake, which I hope comes out around Halloween, because that's going to be an amazing game to stream, is my most anticipated game of 2022. So now that you guys know my list of the top 5 games that I am most pumped up to play, I'd like to know, what are the top 5 games that you want to play the most in 2022? Share your list with me and everyone else in the comments down below. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you all next time.